सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। ओम समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। So Hari Om, salutations to all. Welcome to the last session of our Karmayoga, third chapter of the Gita. So in the earlier session we had seen about overcoming the regrets of the past, anxieties of the future, tension in the present. And then we also saw how the Lord speaks about following these aspects, the principles that he spoke about in Karmayoga, applying them with faith and seeing the transformation for oneself. And if one doesn't do that and one just cribs, complains for the sake of it, then one will destroy one's own potential. Then we also saw about how our attachments and aversions, they rob away our peace of mind. And so how should we overcome both of them? That also we saw. Now, one beautiful way to overcome attachments as well as to serve in the spirit of Karma Yoga is to live in one's own Swadharma. So Swadharma is what is one's innate temperament. So Gita chapter 3 verse 35 speaks to us about Swadharma. It's a very beautiful verse, and so you can repeat it also. Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha
Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha
Dharmat Swanushtitat
Paradharmat Swanushtitat
Swadharme Nidhanam Shreyaha
Swadharme Nidhanam Shreyaha
Dharmo Bhayavaha.
Paradharmo Bhayavaha.
So the Lord says, it is better to die in one's own Swadharma than to imitate somebody else. Than to follow somebody else or to follow some profession which one is not made for. Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha. Our Swadharma may be more difficult, may appear to be more challenging, or may not be as glamorous as somebody else's Swadharma is. But it is still better to follow that than Paradharma Swanushtitat, than following some other person's Swadharma. So let us say those who take arts. Arts does not have that much of glamour as a science or, in science, engineering or medicine or any such thing has. But that's the conditioning of the society. We have to follow what is close to our heart, and each field has most beautiful options and one can do a lot in every field. And there is no superior or inferior in that. That is conditioning of the society. So they make it appear as this is most glamorous, this is most respectable, this is where people will praise you, applaud you. But if I am not made for that, I should not take it. Why? Swadharme nidhanam shreya, paradharma bhayavaha. Because imitating somebody else will create only a lot of stress in our heart. It is better to die. Bhagavan tells Arjuna, it is better to die in your Swadharma than to copy somebody else. So this is one important point to understand, especially as youth, when we choose a career. What is the basis for the choice? That we should always ask ourselves. Whether is it really my temperament? Do I really like to do that work? That being in that field? Those questions are important to ask. One should not take a field because it is lucrative or well paying, because it is, so appears very cool, or because all my friends are taking, so I also take, or because it is considered as the top notch profession, so I take, or because there is a family pressure, I take. There are so many reasons why people take. Now, the situation at this moment is quite challenging for many people. There's no doubt in that. So one says, whatever job comes my way, let me at least take that. See, if it's an emergency situation, then one takes a job for survival. That's a different matter. But as soon as the opportunity arises, one should then shift out of that because one is not made for that. So this concept of Swadharma is what today people call it as aptitude. So what is my aptitude? I should understand my aptitude first. Then I should take the appropriate field. I should not take it just because of any external pressures or, because I'm supposed to take it. No. This is a very important step in Karmayoga. Because if I cannot be in my Swadharma, then my mind will be disturbed. Even from karmic standpoint, if you see, what I have come here to exhaust, if I don't do that, that existing tendencies don't get exhausted. New ones I'm cultivating, there's a lot of suffocation. And we see that happening all the time in the society. So many parents pressurize the children to take up a certain profession, certain career, but the child has a different interest. So one gets forced into taking that. Then one struggles through it, one suffers, there's a lot of stress, there is, a lot of conflict between the parent, the child, the education institution, everywhere. Because the person is not in tune with what one is really made for. So that is very important, is to be able to enjoy that profession that I have chosen. If it is in line with what I am doing, then I will be able to enjoy it. And the more I am able to enjoy it, the more deeper I can go. I won't complain about the hours of work I have to put in, which in today's language, they call it in very simple way, that they say, do what you love and love what you do. So do what you love, meaning what is close to your heart, which gives a lot of joy, satisfaction, makes you go deep, become, expressive, creative, enjoy that work, whatever it may be. So do that, do what you love. If that is not possible at all, then at least love what you do, and at the first opportunity available, just shift, or you can create an opportunity and shift. Because this is a very important aspect as far as the individual's evolution is also concerned, and as well as peace and happiness. Because if the person is not happy doing what one is chosen, one will be very bitter, there will be resentment, there will be irritability, relationship also will not be harmonious. Somewhere one feels I've compromised, I'm not doing what I feel like doing. One can even take a victimizing attitude for that. And so here it is that just like, we say, I'm just going to share the screen here. Now, just like the sugar, the inherent nature of sugar is to be sweet. Without that, it is nothing. Chili, the inherent nature of that is giving spice. Without that, it is nothing. Today is supposed to be MS Dhoni's birthday. Without cricket, Nothing. What all he has achieved. He's the only captain in India who has won all the formats of ICC, the championship trophies in all the formats of ICC he has won. A great cricketer. So the idea is that each one excels when they choose their own Swadharma. So you minus your Swadharma is equal to 0, nothing. So what should be done then? I should identify what exactly is my Swadharma. What am I made for? Because if I am doing what my Swadharma is, then my body, mind, intellect will all be aligned. If I'm not engaging in my Swadharma, then what happens? The body, mind, intellect becomes divided. I do half-heartedly. I set low goals. I do my performance is mediocre. I will have chalta hai attitude. I won't enjoy it much. So disintegration happens. Many times I give this example. Some of you know it also. So Andre Agassi was a very famous tennis player. He married Steffi Graf. She also is a successful tennis player. Both of them are very successful. But Andre Agassi, he wrote in his book, autobiography called Open, that he hates tennis and he hated it all his life. Circumstances pushed him. The family was in debt and the father, who was a boxer, Iranian boxer, he pushed him into tennis. And every day 25,000 balls through the machine will be fired at him and he has to play. And he became successful. But he spent his whole life doing something which he didn't love. And how strange is that? Successful person but did not love what one did. And opposite is when we give example of Sachin, who loves the game, who did great things, who achieved success. Both examples are successful, but one is anchored in Swadharma. Even there, Sachin started off as a bowler in Dennis Lilly Academy, and then he shifted to batting because that's what he was told, that you will be better off as a batsman. Your temperament is more suited for a batsman. And he took that decision and he shifted. So the best part is to find out what is my temperament and do according to that. Because if I am not able to do work according to my temperament, there will be disintegration in my personality. I may have vision, values, goals, ambition, all that. But there will be frustration. I may achieve result, but there will be a sense of hollowness, emptiness. I don't enjoy the work. I do it half-heartedly because body, mind, intellect are all in different places. Physically, I'm doing something. Mind is somewhere else. Intellect is not inspired. I'm just dragging along, pulling along. But if I do what I'm really made for, then that is called MBA, perfect mind-body alignment. Then everything comes into alignment. This is called yoga actually. Yoga means to unite. Yoga is not just doing some asana. It is to unite, align three forces, body, mind, intellect. And finally to ultimately discover who am I. That's the deepest meaning of yoga. So here it is that one should find out what is one's own Swadharma. So if you were to answer this question, what would you answer? That what kind of things you will do to find what is your Swadharma? How do I know what is my Swadharma? You can share in the chat. Lose sense of time. Wonderful. Effortless focus. When ego is temporarily dropped, great. Yes, one would introspect to find out. Trial and error, yes, when it is not clear to me, then I may have to try. That is also a very important aspect, that I may try many things, then figure out, yes, this is what it is. Where happiness, satisfaction, we can't get enough of it. So you lose sense of time. 9 to 5 attitude doesn't apply to you. You feel fulfilled. Sometimes, yeah, making mistakes and then realizing, meaning while doing trial and error, I may realize, oh, I'm not made for this. Or maybe I was very sure and I took it and then realized, I'm not made for this. That's possible. When you make mistakes but enjoy correcting them, that is maybe after having found the Swadharma, or even after, even if you made a mistake in finding Swadharma, but then immediately shift. What I'm really good at, exploring. Yes, what would you do if money did not matter? That's a good question. I become more open to failure. I don't be rigid. That can be, yes, one way to understand. Uh, but that also applies more in any action in that matter, that whatever results come, I learn to accept, whether positive or negative. Always look forward to working and always eager to learn more. That's a general attitude, which is a wonderful attitude to work and to learn more, but how to find what I'm made for. If you mean that I'm trying to work more and explore and then learn from it and figure out, then yes, possible. When I put my heart and soul and realize this isn't my Swadharma, what do? I should shift. Like earlier person said, na, you make a mistake and then you enjoy correcting, so you shift. Like Andre Agassi, if he really, the family was in debt and then he got money, got the family out of debt, then he could have shifted. See, if it is just a publicity stunt for him to sell his book, then that's a different thing. I won't go into that. But if he really did not enjoy the game at all, why would I do something that I don't enjoy the whole life? Family compulsion was there, so I had to do it. Okay, I was pushed into it. I did it. Now I should shift. So that's what I should do. The courage to shift must be there. And we find now so many examples of people who are doing that. People who have studied in so many big universities and colleges and IIM and IIT and all that, many times worked even in some big corporate companies and jobs. Sometimes they leave all that and come down, and some of them are doing organic farming. Somebody is helping to build the community. Somebody is doing some innovative, inventions, products and projects, many things. People, they come to settle down in a village and help the village to grow up well. The moment we find what is our calling, it is up to us to decide whether I want to shift or I want to continue in this, because each time the reason may be for each person different. Possibilities may not be conducive for everybody to shift, but if possible, one should do that, shift. When nothing can distract you from doing it, yeah, which brings the best version out of me. Talk to different people from different fields and figure out, yeah, that is also possible, because the more I explore, I can understand. When you are good at it and also enjoy doing it, yes, self-absorption and a flow state, right? So these are some very nice ways all of you have put down. Here are some questions. Some of them would be what you have explained also. We put down these 12 different questions. If you could do whatever you wanted to do without obstacles, restraining factors, or possibilities of failure, what would you choose to do with your life? That's a question one can ask. What are the things that fill you with joy and a sense of purpose? See, goal is different thing. In every job you take up, there will be goals, there will be targets possibly. But purpose is something else. It is a driving force. And this is my purpose. This is what I really want to achieve. And in this direction, to achieve this purpose, I set up, these are my goals. So the purpose can be to create something most fascinating. Purpose can be to serve people. Purpose can be that I want to take the field, to a next level. Purpose can be that I want to create innovation in this particular field. So purpose is a deeper aspect, that it is the why. That why are you doing this? That is the purpose. Then goals will be there. How do you want to achieve it? What are the milestones that you want to achieve? Many people set goals, but they are not clear about the purpose. So I should ask myself, what will be that which will fill me with joy and give me the sense of purpose? Because when the question of purpose comes, then one is able to answer this question, that why am I doing it? And many times purpose is connected to the existential question, that why am I here? The purpose of my being here is very deep. It is connected to my work and the temperament and the profession that I choose. Because then one feels that I am here to make a contribution in this field, and I am here for this reasons. So existential question, why? That gets answered because of purpose. When do you like yourself the most? If I'm doing what I like, I have a good self-esteem, I like myself. What activities that you have done have made you like yourself the most? So find out those activities. And if they really give you that sense of purpose and joy and all that, then do that. That is a temperament. What are the things you really enjoy and never get bored of doing? Like somebody said, if you don't get enough of it, or, you lose yourself, the count of time you lose. Question is, do you spend enough time doing these things? Because many times people don't do these things. I'm just going to share one video which speaks about this, that people, they regret not the things they have done, but many times they regret what they have not done. So just give me a minute.
It is not death most people are afraid of. It is getting to the end of life only to realize that you never truly lived. There was a study done, a hospital study, on 100 elderly people facing death close to their last breath. They were asked to reflect about their life's biggest regret. Nearly all of them said they regretted not the things they did, but the things they didn't do, the risks they never took, the dreams they didn't pursue. I ask you, will your last words be, if only I hit, hey, you, wake up, why do you exist? Life is not meant to simply work, wait for the weekend, and pay rent. No, I don't know much, but I know this. Every person on this earth has a gift. And I apologize to the Black community, but I can no longer pretend Martin Luther King That man never had a dream. That dream had him. See, people don't choose dreams. Dreams choose them. So the question I'm getting to is, do you have the courage to grab the dream that picked you, that befits you and grips you? Or will you let it get away and slip through? You know, I learned a fact about airplanes the other day. Now, this was so surprising. See, I was talking to a pilot and he told me that many of his passengers think planes are dangerous to fly in. But he said, actually, it is a lot more dangerous for a plane to stay on the ground. I said, what? Like, how does that sound? Well, he said, because on the ground, the plane starts to rust, malfunction, and wear much faster than it ever would if it was in the air. As I walked away, I thought, yeah, makes total sense. Because planes were built to live in the skies. And every person was built to live out the dream they have inside. So it is perhaps the saddest loss to live a life on the ground without ever taking off. See, most of us are afraid of the thief that comes in the night to steal all of our things. But there is a thief in your mind who is after your dreams. His name is doubt. If you see him, call the cops and keep him away from the kids, because he is wanted for murder, for he has killed more dreams than failure ever did. He wears many disguises, and like a virus will leave you blinded, divided, and turn you into a kinda. See, kinda is lethal. You know what kinda is. It's a lot of kinda people. You kinda want a career change. You kinda want to get straight A's. You kinda want to get in shape. Simple math, no numbers to crunch. If you kinda want something, then you will kinda get the results you want. What is your dream? What ignites that spark? You can't kinda want that. You gotta want it with every part of your whole heart. Will you struggle? Yeah, you will struggle, no way around it. You will fall many times, but who's counting? Just remember, there's no such thing as a smooth mountain. If you want to make it to the top, then there are sharp ridges that must be stepped over. There will be times you get stressed and things you get depressed over, but let me tell you something. Steven Spielberg was rejected from film school 3 times, but he kept going. The television execs fired Oprah, said she wasn't fit for TV, but she kept going. Critics told Beyonce that she couldn't sing, she went through depression, but she kept going. Struggle and criticisms are prerequisites for greatness. That is the law of this universe and no one escapes it. Because pain is life, but you can choose what type. Either the pain on the road to success or the pain of being haunted with regret. You want my advice? Don't think twice. We have been given a gift that we call life, so don't blow it. You are not defined by your past. Instead, you are born anew in each moment. So own it now. Sometimes you gotta leap and grow your wings on the way down. You better get the shot off before the clock runs out, cause ain't no overtime in life, no do-over. And I know I sound like I'm preaching or speaking with force, but if you don't use your gift, then you sell not only yourself, but the whole world short. So what invention do you have buried in your mind? What idea, what cure, what skill do you have inside to bring out to this universe? Uni meaning one, verse meaning song. You have a part to play in this song. So grab that microphone and be brave. Sing your heart out on life's stage. You cannot go back and make a brand new beginning, but you can start now and make a brand new ending.
That's a powerful video. Such beautiful things he spoke in that. That uni means one, words means song. Each one of us has a song. There's a dream that picks us as though. That's a poetic way of his presentation. That there's a dream that picks us, and do we have the courage to choose that dream? So each of us has to introspect, find out, because there's great joy in doing what one is meant to do. A lot of stress in the world today is because one doesn't do what one is meant to do. And so that regret, and he ended beautifully saying that you cannot make a brand new beginning, but you can make a brand new ending. That ending is up to us. And the faster we find, the better it is. So these are few things that can help us to find. These are a few questions that which is what we were sharing, which can help us to find out what is my Swadharma. Some of these questions, all of these questions, whatever one feels like one can apply. So these 4 questions. Then what action or job would you be happy doing for the rest of your life, regardless of what you are paid, appreciated, or recognized for? Like some people said, if money is not the issue, then what would you do? The question is, for the rest of my life, would I enjoy it? Now you may say that, why should I do it for the rest of my life? I can shift in between. If some new thing comes up, I may choose. That is up to you. If you really feel that that is also a part of your Swadharma and you want to shift. That is not a problem. What are your highest priorities in life? So that he said, no, the question is, why are you here? What is the best that you want to do with human life? What is the highest priority? Like for some people it is, like Gurudev, for him it was the highest priority was to bring the knowledge to the masses. And he gave his whole life for it, 42 years and with so much of health issues. But he did, because for him the highest priority was this knowledge must go to people. We must be able to revive our culture. So what is my highest priority? Is money my highest priority? Is love my highest priority? Is evolution my highest priority? Is happiness my highest priority? What is my highest priority? That's a question to ask. Family, relationships, what is my highest priority? Because many times it happens that for some things which are just utility value in life, subtler things we drop. Like wealth is one example. We may need wealth in life, there is no doubt. It is a financial need. But for the sake of wealth, if we are compromising continuously with health, with quality relationships, where we even hurt people, insult them, neglect them, abuse them, then it is not worth it actually. So I should ask, what is my highest priority in life? Is truth my highest priority? Is selflessness my highest priority? What is my highest priority? For some it will be wealth, for some it will be just enjoy, chill out in life. Khao, piyo, mauj karo, don't bother about anything else. See, those are some aspects of life, but they unfortunately become the highest priority, then potential doesn't manifest so much. Like he said, everybody is born with a gift, and there's lots that we can do. And when we don't do that, we are depriving ourselves and we are depriving the world also. So it is not that only I am going to lose out. The world is also going to lose out, because a great contribution could have come from the individual. That potential just died. A tree, when it grows, from a seed, it becomes a tree. It is not just its own evolution. It is providing fruits, providing shelter, providing oxygen, providing so many things to the whole world. Same way, each one of us is like that. So what inspires you the most? Who are the 3 people who inspired you the most? If anybody wants to answer that question, you can answer. Yeah. 3 people. Who are the 3 people who inspire you the most? You want to answer 1, 2 also is okay. Because that can also explain some things. Oh God. A.R. Rahman, wonderful. You, Guruji. Oh, I can inspire you, wonderful. That's the glory of the Lord and the Gita only. Gurudev, Dr. Abdul Kalam, Gurudev, Dr. Kalam. Gurudev Vivekananda Swamiji, sswatmananda Swamiji. Father, Dr. Kalam Modi ji. Nice. Lord Krishna, very good. Virat Kohli, Ritik Roshan and Gurudev. Nice. Krishna, Chinmaya family. Chinmay family is like huge, Baba. It's not one person. My grandpa, Gurudev. Yeah. So many times you may find that, so the people who inspire me the most, when I write down their names, then the next step to ask is, what in them inspires me the most? Specific quality, see? Like Gurudev inspires me the most, but which quality? To me, it may be his passion for Hindu culture. For somebody else, it may be his language. For somebody else, it may be his compassion, For somebody else, it may be his punctuality. So what is that specific thing that inspires? Whether it's an achievement of that person, or the quality or a value of that person, the trait of that person. You can do this whenever you have time, that you have to write down that, because those things you value a lot. And if possible, if any profession or any field you are able to take up where you are able to cultivate these or express these, then it will be very helpful. So that is one way to find out. Is there somebody that you always want? Is there something that you always wanted to do but haven't gotten around to? Or maybe you weren't ready to take the plunge. If so, what is it? This is about that, some people had put up that question that, I found now what is my Swadharma, but now I'm doing something else. So what should I do? It is for that. So one scenario is this, that I know what I really want to do, but because of some reason now I am doing something else. Maybe at that time when I chose that profession, I was not aware, but now I've become aware. Or maybe even that time I knew, but I couldn't take that. There could be various possibilities. So the question to ask is this, because he told, in that video, that we don't want to die in regret of what we could not do. See, what we did, that regret, we already saw how to get over that. Through forgiveness, through acceptance, through learning the lesson, all that. And everybody makes mistakes. So regret of having done something where we made some blunder, mistake, that we have handled. But regret of not being able to do what I really wanted to do, that is very sad. So that you can't get over, because certain things can be done at a certain age. That is also important. Time plays a big factor. If the time is gone, then I try to do it. If I'm able to do it, then that is still great. It is relevant and I'm able to do. But sometimes the age has gone, time has gone, then I can't do it. I missed the bus. Then one regrets, oh God, I should have done this at that time. I just missed it. Now, how to get out of that regret? That will be terrible. So that question one should ask oneself, that am I preventing myself from doing what I really like to do? Even at this moment in life, one should ask that question to oneself. What people call it as, bucket list. Why they call it bucket list? Because before you kick the bucket, you should finish that. Meaning before this body drops, one should finish those things. And that list, it is not enough to make the list. It is also important to put down the time by when I want to finish it. Because then one will be very conscious. Otherwise, it's vaguely there. And if one has missed the time, then gone. So one should choose. Identify what are those things. And in that, the most important, that could help me to find out. And if I found out, can I take the plunge? What is the price I will pay if I shift? What will be the plus and minus of continuing in what I am doing, which I don't enjoy? And what will be the plus and minus of taking the plunge? And if it involves a certain sacrifice and certain, scaling down of maybe a certain way of life, etc., am I okay to do that? So those questions one should ask. What about people who are dependent on me, or my family, or other factors who are there? So Each one can, find on their own when to take the plunge. Should I take, not take? What is important? But one thing we should remember very clearly: if I am doing something that I don't enjoy, it will build pressure and it will have consequences. One cannot escape that. No, how much ever one tries to escape it, avoid it, it will be there. It will come out in some way or the other, in performance, in relationships, in personal life, in individual peace and happiness. It will manifest. So that one should not forget. When you are 90 and wrinkled, if someone said to you, so tell me your story, what would you want your story to be? What would you want the world to remember you for? So this is another nice exercise you can do. Which is, write a letter to your future self. That at 90, when you open it and read, what would that letter say? Because here it says you are telling a story to somebody. That is one part. You can do that also. But if you yourself have to read a letter at 90, what you wrote to yourself at whatever, 20, 30, 25, whatever age, 17, 18, which you will be happy to read at 90. That in this whole life, from maybe 20 years old to 90 years, I have accomplished these things. That will be a good exercise to do. Write a letter to yourself. We did that in one camp. In one youth camp, we did that, but that for a shorter duration of time we did it. So we said, look at yourself 2 years from now, where will you be? And write a letter to yourself. And we collected all those letters. They gave it to us sealed in an envelope with their address and all written, and we took it and we saved it. And after 2 years, we posted it to people. And some people were very happy to receive that and read, and then they could introspect, this is what I had thought in the camp, and in these 2 years, how much of this have I been able to accomplish? Have I been able to accomplish anything also? So now imagine that was a very short exercise for 2 years we did. Now if you do it for 70 years, don't tell me that, oh, but we don't know what can happen in 70 years, so how can we predict? The exercise is not that you have to be accurate. Basic desires, what you have, which you want to fulfill at this moment, if considering the factors that you already know and which you can predict, then write a letter. Don't say because it is unpredictable now, there is no point in writing a letter. Don't do that. Write it. And if you want, on the way, you keep modifying your letter as new things keep coming. If you want to do that, do it. But these are ways to find out, I'm saying. What are the things that you do effortlessly? Somebody already shared about that. Write down your best achievements from the age 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to till now. Separately, write down. And also write down what did you think you wanted to become between the age of 5 to 10 and 10 to 15 and 15 to 20. Why? Because you see, many times what happens is in childhood, our natural innate temperament is manifesting because we don't have a lot of conditioning of family pressure, society pressure, peer pressure, none of that is there. And that is close to our heart, something that we really want to do. But as we grow, so many pressures come and then we forget what we really need to do. And we get distracted. That's a possibility. So what should one do? Sit and think. Even if you don't remember everything, maybe you will remember something. Like, when I look at my life, this helps me quite a bit. Because my grandfather used to teach me Sanskrit shlokas and chanting and all that. And my father made one whole book when I was 2 years old. He made such a fat book of so many shlokas and rhymes and Gujarati couplets and bhajans and many things that I knew at 2 years because my grandfather used to teach. He was one of the founding members of Chinmay Mission with Gurudev. And I used to have a bag of lot of toys, and that bag will go with me wherever I go. And I used to enjoy talking on Ramayana. I used to talk on Ramayana from the age of 3 onwards. I would love to speak on Ramayana. So many people would come, whoever came to my house, any friends, relatives, anybody, they will call me and they will say, Ramayana Samblao, meaning in Gujarati, we want to listen to Ramayana. So I'll pick up some prasang of Ramayana and speak because my grandfather taught me basic Ramayana. I used to enjoy. Then I grew up. I started growing up, and then I used to prepare a competition success review. There's some magazine used to come. I don't know if it still comes, but for all these entrances and IAS and all these things. So you sharpen your math skills and English skills and all those things in that. So then I went into commerce because my father and mother, they did this test, psychological test. 10 days that test was. Every evening I used to drive and ride the bicycle and go up to that psychiatrist's house. And first day that psychiatrist did a ridiculous test. I was so irritated because quite far one has to cycle and go. I was in 10th standard that time. First day he gave me a, this wooden piece which has holes and there are pegs, square and circle and rectangle. And he says, you put, I said, what? He said, this is your exercise for today. I was very frustrated. But they have a model, because they want to check many factors. We may feel very childish, but 10 days they did all that. And then I chose commerce. Because arts was not available. Otherwise, I would have chosen arts. In my school, there's only science and commerce. Even today, in so many schools, there's only science and commerce. And I was in Chennai, born and brought up in Chennai. In a CBSE school, there's no arts only. I don't know now if people have, maybe they have a humanities or whatever, but our time it was not there. So I chose commerce. All my friends were into science, but I chose commerce because that's the best option for me. Then I thought I will do MBA from IIM and all that. And that year when I joined BCom first year, that time I had joined computer science, programming. And then I took to programming very easily. So then I thought, Chuck, MBA, we will do MS. I go to USA and study MS. So I started preparing for all that. And I did excellently in computer science. So I thought I'm made for this. Now why I'm narrating all this is not to tell about my past, but just to say that how life is. Then I was attending lectures of Chinmay Mission, Swamis and Brahmacharis. And by the end of first year, I decided the common thread running through my whole life was spirituality. I said, from 2 years onwards, I have been doing this. Then even I used to attend Balvihar classes regularly and then came into Chinmay Yoga Kendra also. So there was an underlying current of spirituality there continuously, but I didn't notice it because, we get carried away by this glamour of the world. Oh, your son is doing this, my son is doing that. And we look at our cousins and brothers and friends. Oh, this fellow did that fellow did that. You get very carried away. So we make big plans. I will do this, I will do that. Then I was sitting and thinking, because, Gita I was studying and all that. Then I said, what is my Swadharma? This Vedanta is my Swadharma, I found out. And my father had, one good thing he did with me was that he made me do a lot of, explore a lot of things. So when people used to have vacation, I would be joining and doing various classes. So horse riding and, piano and harmonium and karate and badminton, football, cricket, you name it, yoga, so many things I tried out. Right from childhood onwards, I've been doing learning different things. But finally, I found out I belong to spiritual life. Vedanta is my forte. This is what I want to study. And if I can do things with the mind, train the mind, and reading the lives of great master, I said, this is human possibility to realize infinity. Why will I sit my whole life? This one question I asked myself, do I want to sit and keep typing in front of a computer and coding? Straight my answer was impossible. I cannot do coding for rest of my life. Though I may be very good at it, but impossible. I will not do it. And compared to Vedanta, everything is flop. Fuss, gone. MS, MBA all went in dustbin straight. I said, I will go and do Vedanta course for 2 years. Came to Sandipani. Now, why I'm saying all this is just to make that sometimes we need to take a back step and think for ourselves carefully. What is close to my heart? And this exercise can help a lot. 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20. Hence, there may be, it's not necessary for everybody, there will be, but this is one of the options. That there may be a linking, our subconscious mind is more powerful than our conscious mind. A conscious mind gets stuck with many of the external factors. Subconscious mind is still much more clearer. So if you sit and quietly ask, sometimes the answer won't come immediately. Sometimes there'll be a lot of uncertainty also. And there'll be a lot of people who will also tell you, Arey, what are you doing? Especially when I decided to join Vedanta course, they said, Arey, you can get such a powerful job and you will get such nice money, position, this, that, and your grades are like this, falana, dhikna. They will say, why will you go to spirituality? What is there in that? All kinds of influences will come. You can listen to all, but ask your heart what really you are made for. And those some of these questions. I decided very clearly, I can be hungry, but I will revel in Vedanta and Bhagwan's name. That is close to my heart. But I may have lots of money and power, but if I am not doing this Vedanta stuff, I will be miserable. It won't satisfy me at all. So then I found out that this is what my Swadharma is. And till today I enjoy it. I go deeper and deeper into it. I keep it is just fascinating to me. So that's how one should find out. At whichever point in life you are able to find out, if you have not found out till now, find it. Trial and error also helps, as I said earlier. So I'm very clear now because I did so many things before only. So I know I'm not made for these things. I tried quite a few things. And not that in all of them one fails. One will be successful also in many of these. But the question is this close to my heart? That's the question. Is this what I want to do rest of my life? Is this what brings me satisfaction and joy? Then that is what I should choose. Because success is very, just success is not the only criteria to find out whether that's my Swadharma. Because I can be successful in a certain thing. Like programming, I was very successful. But not necessary that is what I'm made for. Is there no point of saturation even in the field of Swadharma? There may be possibilities. There are possibilities of saturation in certain fields if one feels like, because innate temperament may change, then one feels saturated. But if one is really having, then there is no saturation. Like suppose somebody takes up music, there is no saturation. Even in science, like Dr. Abdul Kalam never gets saturated with science. Or Amitabh Bachchan doesn't get saturated with his acting. So it depends. It depends on how deep is that, the Swadharma calling. Sometimes it changes also. So so each one has to ask oneself. That's why I said if one feels that now this is over now my Swadharma is something else, then one can shift. So it is possible that saturation point comes. It's not that it cannot come. And it's not that only one Swadharma is there for everybody. Yes, for some people it may be only one. For some people it may be little more, multiple it may be. Some people it can be that you can sequence it. Once one knows that these two things are very close to my heart, can I do it parallelly? Great. If I can't do parallelly, can I sequence it with this many years, this, after this? So lots of possibilities are there. It's not a rigid thing. So the best thing is be in touch with your heart and your feelings and know what is that which really resonates with my heart. As one learns, as one goes through experiences of life, the heart keeps on evolving. It changes also. So best is to do that. And then whatever is the most practical situation at that point in time, sometimes it need not be a major shift. It can be as a hobby, I can pursue it. Sometimes it can be that yes, a major shift should be done. So it all depends on many of these factors. Now this idea of Swadharma is innate to our culture. You will see in the 4th chapter of the Gita, those of you who want to attend it, the Varna Vyavastha is based on this. Sorry, Varna Vyavastha is the basis of this Swadharma. And Varna Vyavastha is also based on this. Yeah, both are correct. Today, we don't go back to this concept. We either go into aptitude part or we go into this. Many people are very happy to quote and say this, I found my ikigai. It's good, nothing wrong in that. One can say it. And they have brought it out also nicely. That what is the ikigai? It's a combination of all this. What you love, what is your passion, what is your mission, what the world needs, what you are good at, what you can be paid for, which you can take up as your vocation, profession. The combination of all this is your ikigai. And these are the other 4, where sometimes because of some limitations, certain factors only come together, not every factor can be there. So it's a very nicely developed. There's nothing wrong with using it also. Is beautiful done, the Japanese concept ikigai. But we do not forget that this concept is there in our culture also. The Swadharma is that beautiful concept, to know what is my temperament. So here is one more video where, maybe some of you have heard this, but it's a very nice, touching explanation that Steve Jobs gives. It's a convocation address. Very nicely explains in this about his life, and through that journey, he explains about Swadharma and some beautiful concepts. In Stanford, he gave this convocation address.
I'm honored to be with you today for your commencement from one of the finest universities in the world. Truth be told, I never graduated from college, and this is the closest I've ever gotten to a college graduation. The first story is about connecting the dots. I dropped out of Reed College after the first 6 months, but then stayed around as a drop-in for another 18 months or so before I really quit. So why'd I drop out? It started before I was born. My biological mother was a young, unwed graduate student, and she decided to put me up for adoption. She felt very strongly that I should be adopted by college graduates, so everything was all set for me to be adopted at birth by a lawyer and his wife. Except that when I popped out, they decided at the last minute that they really wanted a girl. So my parents, who were on a waiting list, got a call in the middle of the night asking, "We've got an unexpected baby boy. Do you want him?" They said, "Of course." My biological mother found out later that my mother had never graduated from college and that my father had never graduated. Your time is limited. So don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. Stay hungry, stay foolish. Thank you all very much.
So that was a very nice address. One of my favorite videos, especially Steve Jobs' life is very inspiring. He could have victimized himself at any point in life. You know, he was orphaned. His own parents dumped him. He was brought up by someone else. Then you saw, no, he dropped out from the school. Then his own company kicked him out. And then many ups and downs he went through. And then finally he had cancer also. He recovered from that. And finally he succumbed to that. But through his whole life, he kept holding on to that, what he really loved, and he created such a legacy. So that is the 30th verse of this, 35th verse of this third chapter. Now we come to the last part of the third chapter. And that is this question that Arjun asks. And that question is very beautiful. He says, Athakena prayuktoyam papam charati purushaha. Anichannapi varshneya baladiva niyojitaha. What is that which makes a person sin? What is that factor which pushes the person unwillingly also to do the wrong, even when one knows that this is wrong? So generally one would always blame some external factor. This person's behavior, that person's actions, or this neighbor, that government. One keeps blaming somebody or the other. But the Lord says something very different. So this question of Arjun is again a universal question. That what makes us sin, knowingly what makes us sin. And Bhagavan gives the answer, Kama esha krodha esha rajo guna samudbhavaha. It is our desire and anger born out of attachment that makes us sin, which makes us forget what is right and wrong, or which makes us compromise with the right and do the wrong. Simple example, everybody knows smoking is harmful, but one still does because some attachment to some image factor, some peer pressure, some factor will be there, some pleasure factor. So one does it knowingly. When one is telling a lie, one knows it's a lie, but one will still do it because some benefit one is attached to which one doesn't want to let go. So any examples you can take. Wherever one is compromising, it will be because of some attachment, desire born out of attachment. And when that desire doesn't get fulfilled, then anger. In that anger, one may become violent, one may become abusive, one may break relationships, one may do many things. Both of them lead to compromise. And so the Lord gives that answer, that how does this make a person compromise? It is no external factor, Arjun. It is the attachment inside. The desire born out of that attachment is what makes a person fall. So I may know, my knowledge may be there, but if my attachment is more powerful, this attachment will cover knowledge. The desire will cover this knowledge. Like I gave example earlier, smoking, drinking, all those things we know. Non-vegetarian food. Now, how much the world is already suffering with this COVID. There's another new virus from China, some bubon, something it is called, bubon virus. 200 million people can be affected by that. What COVID has affected is very small compared to this. But human being is stopping eating non-vegetarian food. and all types of moving animals and all that one is trying to eat. Arey, why don't you just leave them alone, Baba? It's their life, let them live. But one will still do, because that's the attachment. So wherever this happens, the knowledge may be there, but the knowledge will cover. It will get covered by what? By some desire born out of attachment. So in this next verse, he gives 3 examples of how deep that covering can be. Sometimes the covering is very light, like smoke covers fire. That is called a sattvic covering. So when you are doing a havan, sometimes the smoke will cover the fire. So the fire just gets as though extinguished. But that's where one has to fan it. Early days they used to use a manual fan and fan it. Nowadays the pandits and all of them priests, they bring a small, pocket size fan, battery operated, and they put it on. And they bring that fan close to the havan kund. And immediately the ash, etc. moves away and the fire, smoke gone, ash gone, the fire becomes bright. So sometimes our desires are very weak. So with little effort, you can overcome them and the knowledge will become bright and one will not compromise them. Sometimes it is more stronger than that. So the second example is Yatha Darsho Malenacha, like the mirror is covered by dust. So you can't just blow it away. For, let us say, COVID now, 4 months, 5 months, things are closed. Now you go and open your shop, let us say, and then you find the mirror has so much of dust. You just try to blow it, it will not go. One has to actually take a cloth and wipe it. It requires more effort. So some desires are there which require more effort. It just doesn't go like this, thinking it out. One has to put much more effort, live in much more self-control, think much more about the harmful effect of it, and deny to oneself that attachment, the pleasure born out of that attachment, and slowly that thing will subside. But if one doesn't do all this, then that will make the person compromise. The third one is the deepest, tamasic it is. Yatha ulbena tatha tenedam avritam. Just like that fetus, the womb covers the fetus. 9 months it will take for the child to come out. In that way, sometimes these attachments are very deep. And one, in spite of knowledge, one will still end up helplessly, one will do the wrong things. And life has to give some nice kicks, then maybe that person wakes up. It is a painful process. In many things one can apply. The type of food, the type of things one watches, or the addiction to phone, or addiction to Netflix, or any social, whatever, streaming channels. It can come in any category. For some people, it may be very weak attachment. For some people, it may be a mediumly strong. And for some people, it's very, very strong that helplessly they will watch. Helplessly they will indulge. Helplessly they will do it. And what is the problem with that? It leaves agitations. It leaves a person weak. It makes a person, live in compromise. And that person's self-esteem also falls. Person doesn't feel great about oneself because one knows knowledge is there. Like even studies, one knows one should study regularly, but then one compromises. The issue is not about not studying. The issue is the tendency to compromise becomes stronger and stronger. That is the main problem. So now how to come out of these things? The law doesn't say one thing, how to come out of one thing. He says that desire, this selfish desire is mainly the cause. So he gives a general solution ki how to handle desire, the selfish desire. So he says know this selfish desire to be your enemy. Avritam jnanam etena jnanino nitya vairina. Please understand that this selfish desire is your enemy, which will make you compromise. If somebody says, no, but ambition is required to grow in life, there's nothing wrong with ambition. But it should be on what we did in the first class, no? Righteous goal with the righteous means. Then there is no problem. But I am trying to use unrighteous means, my goal is also unrighteous, and then I am saying that this is required for progress and success, then one will fall. And one is seeing examples, no? How people fall from grace. So that should not happen. So this selfish desire, he says, please remember that is your enemy who is out to destroy you, and it is insatiable. Kama rupena kaunteya dushpurena achalena cha. Analena cha. It is like the fire. What will happen if you add ghee to the fire? The fire will only keep increasing. It is not going to reduce. And if you think that by adding more ghee it will reduce, that is delusion. So there are people who do wrong things and keep on doing wrong things, thinking that anyway now it is okay. How does it matter? It will die out on its own. It will not. It will only fan. It will only increase. So he says, consider this as your enemy. Now, what is the solution for that? He says, an enemy has a hideout, you see. So the solution he gives is, if you understand this hideout, from where does the desire attack us, you can destroy the enemy at the source before it multiplies in the head. From the hideout only you destroy. Before it attacks you, you attack it and finish it. That is why I said he is not giving an individual solution for this. The specific solution is to get out of Rajoguna. That's the deep level solution. But for that, I should understand the hideout. So just like an enemy who attacks from a hideout, these are the three hideouts. Indriyani mano buddhi asyadhisthana muchyate. Etar vimohayatyecha jnanamavritya dehinam. So hiding in these three places, this desire as though veils the knowledge of the person and the person compromises. So what are the three hideouts? First is Indriyani, the senses. See, certain desires enter through the senses. So if I don't control the senses, then I am sitting duck. A sitting duck, easily the enemy will target and finish off. Now I see anything, hear anything, talk anything, eat anything, do anyhow, anything, anywhere. Then how is it possible that the mind will hold on to some values? And in the name of being open, liberal, and trying out everything in life, one is losing the capacity of discrimination. What is good, what is not good, one should know very clearly. It is really sad, na? Many times one sees, whether it's in movies, whether it's in social life, whether it's in corporate world, wherever you look, alcohol is such a common thing, as though people are drinking water, like that they're drinking alcohol. It is destroying your life. Tell me what one thing is not, which one disease, major disease is not connected to alcohol. COVID also is connected to alcohol. If you are alcoholic, you are more susceptible to COVID. They've written it down. Heart problems are there, ulcer in the stomach is there, heartburn is there, cholesterol issues are there, obesity is there. I mean, what not is connected to alcohol? And still people will do it. Why? Because through the senses they are seeing that. This is the way to live, this is a cool life, that is being projected. But go to all the airports, duty free, bottles are available. Buying your own destruction, destroying yourself, worse than Kalidas we are. Kalidas was cutting the branch on which he was sitting. We are cutting our body only. Why? Because through the senses I am allowing all the sense temptations. No, but Swamiji, this is spread everywhere. What can I do? Okay, seeing you can't stop. At least value inside the head you can stop, and drinking with the mouth you can stop. Holding with the hand you can stop. That all is there in your hand. Visually you are not able to change, because okay, if you are seeing a movie or you are seeing some poster, or you are seeing people in your office or wherever, in a hotel, whatever it is, in a party, If one really wants to live a life of productivity and purpose and all that, then one needs to avoid all that. Senses are the first hideout. If we don't see things which are inspiring, hear which are inspiring, if we don't use our senses for productive, positive, purposeful things, they will first pull us down. And in the name of being open, so one is doing anything. Anything means anything. Even animals think twice, Baba, please remember. Animal will smell and see this is not good, it will not touch it. Animal instinct will do that. A human being with the buddhi is knowing it is harmful and still going and eating. Animal doesn't do it. Why is human being doing it? Because the buddhi has gone. Then one falls worse than animal. So senses, first solution is develop control of senses. You can apply this in all the cigarette and alcohol and non-vegetarian and so many other factors. How much violence against women happens in the world, and everybody is like, fight for the rights of the women and all that. But what kind of things we see in every other place? Women are objectified so terribly. They are exploited, that exploitation is also shown. Openly, they want to do it, all that in the narration and everywhere. Now, you don't want to stop any of that. You want to sell products also with all kinds of vulgar stuff going on. Then how do you expect people to change? Is it not hypocrisy? The same guys who are doing all this, then they will say that fight for the women rights and the Thappad type of movie will come out. But every other movie you are showing that properly, and don't say that is a reflection of society. You also have power to change and influence the society in a very positive way. So sense control is a very, very important aspect. If we don't do sense control, we cannot control desire, because that's the first entry point. Second entry point is manaha. So whatever memories I have of what I have enjoyed before, or whatever I have not been able to enjoy before, the cravings will come out of that. Those are the next 2 points. Mind revolves around the memories of pleasure. Intellect creates cravings for the future. Quite a lot is based on senses. But what is not based on senses also, then it is based on the internal conditioning, which I may not have seen in this life, possibly maybe from earlier life, or maybe in this life also. So one broods in the mind. One starts imagining all types of pleasures. Because the value system is changed. What was prohibited earlier now becomes permitted. Why? Because who is anybody to tell me? My life, I will do what I want. Nobody is trying to tell you anything, Baba. Just we are trying to say, do it. Live a life of good purpose. Make your life count. Make it worth it. You think about the level of language, the quality of language. We just use, and some of the language that you see in some of these things is so low, very, very low. Is that modernity? Is that progress? Is that development? One should really think. Because speech has an impact on the mind. And the power of the speech is such that if you cultivate purity of speech, what you say will come true. Our Shastras have explained that, and our great masters have shown it also. We leave those sublime things and come to the ridiculous in the name of modernity and in the name of progress and development. And such small children, young children and all speaking all kinds of abusive words. That's not progress or development, because it will create impact on the mind. So through the senses, through the brooding of the past pleasures, new desires get created, and also through fanciful imaginations. A lot of people like to ask this question to each other. Young people to definitely ask, what is the wildest thing you have ever done in your life? There is a phase in life where one may try also. It is each one's choice per se, nothing to judge about it. But why? Meaning which is the aspect where you have broken the rules completely and gone beyond the roof? Because why should you follow rules all the time? At some time you should just break free and do whatever you feel like doing. Maybe some people want to do at some point, some people try it also, but then one should know the consequences, do it with the awareness of it and take responsibility and do it. And also know that mind control is not easy. If that becomes a lifestyle to keep doing wild stuff, then one will end up in some wild place only finally. So these three, the senses, so sense control is important. That is the first hideout where I should stop. Second hideout where I should stop it is the brooding in the mental level. So using breathing, using mantra japa, using some very creative visualization, using goals to channelize one's efforts. These things are the solutions to ensure that our body, in our senses, our mind and our intellect remain focused and don't get distracted by these rajasic type of desires. And hence the Lord says that, that you control your senses first. Tasmat tvam indriyani adav niyamya bharatarshava papmanam prajahi hyenam jnana vijnana nashanam. You destroy this by first controlling your senses. So I made this formula: for any change to happen, we must have control. We must have clarity of why I want that change. We must have the courage to say no to the temptations and the past conditionings and habits or the external pressures. And we must be able to live that lifestyle consistently. So if it is, let us say, example of smoking, I must have the control to say I will not smoke. Come what may, I will not smoke. I will not touch a cigarette also. Why I'm doing that, I should be very clear. I have a deeper purpose. I want to protect my health for it, and I don't want to make myself a victim of this. That intellectual clarity must be very strong. Then I should have the courage to say no, even if my friend offers it, even if somebody very dear offers it. I said nothing doing, I won't touch it. No, just one puff, nothing doing, no. And live that continuously, then it will change the whole pattern of life. If one compromises in any one of these, then the change will not happen. So that's how one changes. And finally, the Lord says, one more solution is, you rise in subtlety. The subtler can always control the gross. Today, the gross is controlling the subtler. Our emotions and desire born out of attachment is controlling the mind of ours. Is controlling our knowledge, sorry. So our knowledge is getting eclipsed and compromised. So the gross today is controlling the subtler. I should come back to subtler controlling the gross. So that hierarchy he gives: Indriyani paranyahu indriyebhya param manaha manasastu para buddhihi yo buddhe paratastu saha. This is the subtlety. Senses are subtler than the body. Subtler than senses is the mind. Subtler than mind is the intellect. Subtler than the intellect is the self. And this we can apply in very simple way in our life. The body by itself knows nothing. If the senses are not functioning, body doesn't know anything. So body is definitely grosser. Controlling my senses, I can control the body. For the sake of the mind, emotions, when I love somebody, then I can control senses also. You will find many movies also they show. The heroine will tell the hero, will you quit smoking for me? Can you do this for me? And this guy will say, yeah, I will do it. So emotions, emotions, when you really love somebody and you value them, it need not be only somebody. It can be a divine emotion or a higher emotion in yourself also. I find a deeper purpose and happiness within, then I will leave the sensory stimulations. So using the mind, control the senses. Using the intellect, control the mind. Mind may want to do wild stuff, but I have a goal in life. I have a certain direction I want to take, and I have an ideal I want to achieve. So I channelize my emotions towards that, pulling it away from the wild thing, channelizing towards that. And highest is self. If my goal is to know who am I truly, then all this has to get aligned. There is no other solution to know the self. Align the body, mind, and intellect. So this is what he says, and this concludes this third chapter. Finally, he says, Evam buddhe param buddhva samstabhyatmanamatmana jahi shatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. In this way, consider the buddhi to be very, very strong, and using the buddhi, try to realize the self and defeat this enemy and destroy it completely. Otherwise, it is a difficult enemy to fight. But if you do these things, one can fight it out. So this concludes our third chapter. So we will end by chanting the Sankalpa Vakya. Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Karmayogo Nama Tritiyodhyayaha. Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tva Sarva Papebhyaha Mokshayishyami Ma Shuchaha. So at the end of each chapter, we generally chant this Sarvadharman Parityajya. And in Chinmay Mission, Gurudev set up a tradition that when we complete a chapter or a text, we again read the first verse of that chapter as a symbolic gesture that we will continue to study the chapter and learn and imbibe it more and more in our life. So we will chant the first shloka. Bhavna, you can chant with me. Atha Tritiyodhyayaha Arjuna Uvacha Jayasi Chet Karmanaste Mata Buddhir Janardana Tatkim Karmani Ghore Mam Niyojayasi Keshava. So it was wonderful to share this third chapter and reflect on it with all of you. And my gratitude to each of you. You have been an instrument for me to reflect on this chapter. So, and you have been a very interactive and inspiring audience. So thank you to each one of you. And we offer this at the feet of the whole Guru Parampara and the Supreme Lord. Kayena vacha manasendriyairva buddhyatmana va prakrite svabhavat karomi yadyat sakalam parasmai narayanayeti samarpayami narayanayeti samarpayami. Om Tat Sat Brahmarpanamastu. Okay, so anybody has any questions, you please raise your hand, and one by one you can unmute. Darshan Patil. Yes, you can try and unmute. Yeah, please speak.
Pranam Guruji.
Yes, Hari Om.
Hari Om. My question is like, why do we always refer to the past, like the Hindu, like in the like the Hindu traditions, the Hindu culture, the Shastras? Like my question was like, are there no any innovations, or like we are not experiencing new things and referring from them?
What are the new things that we need to identify?
Like identify, like for example, we are referring the whole Bhagavad Gita as for our whole life, the direction of our life.
So are you having any new ways to digest, to have food?
No.
Spoon and fork, you still use a mouth. Now, why are you not using a new method? Try put it through the ears and eat. That we can't do now, because certain fundamentals remain the same. So fundamentals of the mind, fundamentals of the personality they remain the same. The application may change. So the universal truths which are there, which the scriptures speak about, they will remain the same. Only their adaptability and application changes through time. So we use the knowledge and adapt it
Yeah,
to the
okay.
present times, which you will see in every field happening. In
Okay.
music, sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa, full stop. This is there for centuries together.
Okay.
There will not be any eighth swara which will come up newly.
Okay.
They can use this combination for new things, innovative
Application.
type of music. Those things can be done.
So we have to believe that like the fundamentals cannot be changed. We have.
Not cannot be changed. They generally don't change. And
Okay.
our culture has two parts. If you want to still go deeper, there are two parts. One is the Vedic knowledge, which is called as the Shruti. Other is called
And
Smriti. Smriti is the
history.
changing knowledge. As per the times, the things change. Like in this chapter itself, the Bhagavad Gita is a Smriti. So in this chapter, you saw the definition of yajna in Vedic time is a Vedic ritual. But in this
Okay.
Gita, the definition of yajna is a cooperative endeavor for us selfless goal. Now that's an adaptation.
Yeah.
So adaptations keep happening.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'm clear, Swamiji.
Right. Ankita Agarwal.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Yeah, Ayaan.
Swamiji, my question is specific to low confidence and self-doubt. So even though we study all this and obviously appreciate all this knowledge, but somewhere this doubt doesn't go and this fear is there that I cannot do it or it will go wrong or maybe it's a baggage of past where there may have been failures. So obviously you talked about bouncing back in the past, but I'm talking about converting this knowledge into application. I mean, at a knowledge level, it is all absolutely fine, but making it happen is a problem. That confidence is lacking and that doubt is there, a lot of it. So I'm just thinking whether you talked about those three categories, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. Is it like a tamasic quality then that, whatever you may do, you will not be able to come out of that self doubt?
No, it is not like that. One can come out. Now, to make your body strong, what do? You eat food regularly, right? Otherwise, body will have weakness. So what do we do to strengthen the mind? This lack of confidence and self-doubt is naturally going to remain when I don't do stuff regularly to ensure everyday basis that mind becomes strong. So mind must be nurtured with love. Mind must be nurtured with silence and quietude. These are two most important factors for the mind. So bhakti is one. So if I'm able to connect to a higher source and strengthen myself, and I learn methods to quieten my mind, that will help me a lot to achieve things in the world also, and which will give me confidence. Because I am strong, I am able to achieve. That achievement will strengthen my confidence, and because every day I am connecting to a higher source, I become strong. So they both will go hand in hand. Many people don't do any of that, or they do it very mechanically. So the strengthening doesn't happen. Then naturally, when we go out into the world, we are getting battered by so many challenges and we doubt ourselves. What is the difference between achievers like Steve Jobs? What is his mind if you think about it? So even if you take, the achiever's life, there can be both aspects. Some may strengthen themselves through spirituality, some may use some other methods to strengthen themselves. Like Steve Jobs even came to India. He even went to the Himalayas. He even went to our Neem Karoli Baba's ashram in Kanchi Dham. So many things he did like that, whereby there is some connection, there is some source I have to connect to, of strength. If you find it in a higher ideal, you find it in a relationship, you find it in the ability to serve, or you may find it in the supreme divine. You may find whichever source. But every single day I need to connect to an inspiring source of strength. And I would feel good about myself. And it is not that one will never be able to come out. There may be challenges, there is no doubt, but I have to refine my approach. So if I give you a simple practical formula which one can apply, which I give many times. The formula is T20. 20 minutes exercise in the morning. 20 minutes exercise through the day whenever. 20 minutes of meditation. 20 minutes of study like this, spiritual literature or any psychological self-help books, all these which will strengthen the intellect. Body, mind, intellect, every single day, if I'm able to spare 1 hour for myself and train my body, mind, intellect, strengthen them regularly, that is one very important aspect. Second important aspect is what makes me weak. I should give up that. Including company of people who make me doubt myself, who criticize me, who condemn me, who make me feel low about myself. They may be very close to me. I need to move away from them, at least for the time when I'm trying to bounce back and become strong, because that makes a big difference. I may be, very strong doing this T20 formula, but all my energy created will go away when somebody is out there to just pull me down and I get pulled down. So company matters, and the positive company makes a big, big, big difference. Find people who will motivate, encourage, support, make you feel loved, make you feel worthy. So both the things have to be done. One side, I must strengthen the strengths of mine. Other side, I must weaken all those factors which are making me weak and destroy those. Then the person will be able to apply all this and realize. Niharika.
Swamiji, my dad was listening to me, class with me. He wanted to ask a question.
Okay.
Namaskar, Swamiji.
Namaskar.
I want to thank you for sharing spirituality with the children. It's very nice to bring them into spirituality at this age. I have a question. I've been reading the Gita, and I've lately started reading the Upanishad as well, in English though. A little confused as to the difference between what is personality and what is the self, how to distinguish between them and how to reach the self.
So personality is what is my relative identity, what we call as the jiva. So that is the personality, which is the combination of my body, mind, intellect. So the qualities of the mind, the temperament of the intellect, the nature of the senses, and the connection of the senses with the world outside, all that is dependent on the personality. So each person's personality is different from the other, because their innate combination of 3 gunas is what really makes the personality, sattva, rajas and tamas. Each person has a different combination. And the quality of desires, quality of the feelings, quality of the actions, they all are influenced by these 3 gunas. And so the personality keeps changing. It keeps getting influenced by the environment, by the internal forces, external forces, all that. But the self is beyond 3 gunas, which is the witness in us, which never changes, and which is not subjected to any external, internal influence. And that is my true identity. So when I learn to align the personality in a righteous way, and I learn to make it single pointed, so purify the personality, unify the personality, and then transcend the identification with it. I am not this is a tool I have. Like I have a computer, I have a phone, I have a chair. These are equipments that I have. Same way I have a body, I have a mind, I have intellect. I am not these. So that detachment when I have from personality, then I will realize the self, which is the reality. Because self is the enlivener of the personality. Self doesn't, it's like the bulb and the electricity. Electricity is the self. This bulb is the personality. By itself, this bulb cannot give light. Same way the BMI by itself cannot function. What will function, what is making it function is the self. So that's the difference.
What did you say for the self?
Yes, thank you.
Hello, thank you, Guruji. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Dr. Varsha.
Yeah, Hari Om Swamiji. First of all, thank you for this wonderful session. My question pertains to the thing about doing what you love. Sometimes we are lucky enough to be in the profession of doing, like, in the profession of what we love to do. But in that also, as a profession, there are times we face remuneration issues as a profession as a whole, not just individual level, but in the profession as a whole we face remuneration issues. So
Yeah.
in such cases, is it right to fight against that system, or is it wrong saying you are becoming money minded? Because it's not just individual level. So if I agree and go in that in just money, saying okay, I am not in a needy, I'm in a well-to-do position in life, so it's not money requirement for me. But as a profession, I might be doing injustice because I am uh, creating a problem for others also in the profession. So is it right that time to pay importance to remuneration and fight against such unjust remuneration issues, or do you get termed as money-minded person?
Now, 2 points here. What you get termed as is the perception of the people. That is a different matter altogether. That need not be the main criteria to decide at all. What is the real objective that we should hold on to? First of all, is it born out of greed? That should be very clear to us. If it is born out of greed, then one should think twice before fighting. If it is not born out of greed and there is really injustice happening there in terms of remuneration, one has to fight. There's nothing wrong in fighting, but ensure that the fighting is on the issue, not on the person or the people involved, and not affecting the beneficiaries of your service. Suppose I say teacher, I'm just giving example. Suppose I say teacher. Now teacher is suppose not being paid well. Now fight against the system, against the management or whoever is not giving properly, but don't deprive the children of the knowledge. Even if you do a strike or so, keep in mind that it is also that the future of children is at stake. So one should not just for sake of money put everything into trouble, because then that will destroy the whole purpose of that profession itself, which is to build lives. So system has to be fought, the management has to be fought if required, and do it because you genuinely feel, and also understand, is it what the general perception also is, that compared to whatever other professions it is paid less, or the efforts are not being recognized, or money is there and people are not paying, then they are filling their coffers. Whatever may be your reason to fight, if the cause is a just cause, money is a need in lives of people, and where it comes to a remuneration, to being paid for one's efforts, if one feels that this is not at all adequate and one has to fight, there's nothing wrong in fighting that. And that is not called being money minded. You're not fighting for money, you are fighting for what you deserve. Because otherwise, so one cannot fight for anything in that sense. Never one can fight, because whatever one will fight for, one will say you are like this, you are like that. So that is not to be considered just, but as I said earlier, greed, those things I should clear. If it is somewhere born out of greed and exploitation and discontentment, and then there's something to think about before one gets into it. So it's a call that one has to take. Dhanashri.
Hari Om Swamiji. Swamiji, continuing to the discussion which we just now had regarding difference between personality and the self, can we say that the self is the life force within us, which is the which is giving us life? Our is self our life force? Yes, that was my question.
If you mean life force as consciousness, then yes, it is. But if you mean life force as breath or prana shakti,
Prana Shakti, I meant.
no, self is not prana shakti because prana is inert and prana
Okay.
changes. Prana is, if you know Vedant, 5 types of prana: prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana. And they are physiological systems in the body. So that cannot be the self. That's a part of the, that's a pranamaya kosha. That's a part of the system that sustains this body. Physical body is sustained by the subtler layer, which is pranamaya kosha. That is not
Okay.
the atma. Atma is other than prana. The capability of prana to do its function comes from the atma. So that is
Okay.
why the self is Ch.3. It is consciousness which never changes.
Okay, because when we meditate, we are being asked to concentrate on the self. And at many places we have been asked to concentrate on our breathing. So I have always thought that self is our, I mean, it's wrong. Understand?
None. So I don't know which meditations are doing that, but it may be two different paths also,
Okay.
which we could have connected, because breathing, focus on breathing is one method to quieten the mind, which many great masters have spoken about. And the focusing on the self is another method where one tries to withdraw from the breath also. The attention goes away. The breathing will happen involuntarily, but focus is not on the breath. Focus is not on the body. Focus is not on the world outside. Focus is not even on the thought. To
Hmm.
withdraw from all these, then what remains? That is the Atma. So that is the Vedantic method of meditation. So maybe they are two different processes and maybe
Which
connection.
have been mixed. Okay. Thank you, Swamiji.
Last question for today, Ankita Agarwal. Yes.
Swamiji, is self-realization possible without being able to, for whatever reason, pursue our Swadharma? Because obviously we talk about so many paths: meditate, quieten your mind, purify your mind. But can we say that without even touching Dharma, it's not possible to get self-realized?
No, not possible to realize without knowing, without identifying one's Swadharma. Possibly the Swadharma is to realize the self. That is also possible. It need not be just a profession outside. It may be also that my temperament is to follow spiritual paths and realize. So it could be that is your Swadharma or any other profession or a field out there. But I must identify, because as I said, karmic aspect plays a big role in this. Existing karma does not get exhausted, new karmas are getting added, there will be suffocation. So continuous meditation on the Supreme Self won't be possible when there's so much of suffocation. So that's why Swadharma is a very important aspect which I must identify. And as I told earlier, it can change as one changes in time in one's life. That possibility is there. So one doesn't have to feel okay, if I've chosen this now, this is the only Swadharma I have to follow whether I like it or not. Not necessary. Be in touch with the heart and feel. And that is what will help to reduce. The satisfaction part of Swadharma is one aspect, but karmic pressure becoming less is the other aspect of Swadharma. Like Arjun, if he is not doing his duty as a Kshatriya and not fighting the war and he is sitting in a forest, just imagine the suppression in his head, because he is born for this. It is his Kshatriya temperament. Now sitting quietly in the forest, he can't meditate because he can't do his duty he didn't do his duty as a Kshatriya. That guilt will be there, that pressure will be there. And there he is not able to express his natural inclination because he's in a forest. Now that is called suffocation, which is what he says, Paradharma bhayavaha. That will create a lot of frustration. So yes, it is not possible to realize until one finds what is one's Swadharma and exhaust that Swadharma. And in that process, purifying oneself, one will realize. All right. So this series of talks conclude, and week after next, so on 21st, we will take up the Gita chapter 4, which is bursting Hindu myths. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. One important point is, if you have registered for it, great, but please go through the email, and there's a different Telegram group for it. You need to join that if you want to continue these sessions. So some of you have registered, but you have not joined the Telegram group yet. So please do join that. Thank you. Hari Om.